Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special Cloud Conversations live broadcast. We've got the full team here for the first time in our revamped history. We've got Kat here, we've got Rue here, and we are delighted to be joined by two very special guests. We've got Nathan Sweeney and Aaron Rendell with us, who are the co-organisers of the South Coast Summit in-person event, which is taking place next week. It's coming up soon, next Friday and Saturday, I believe, the 15th and 16th of October. So welcome, Nathan and Aaron. Do you want to just both give yourselves a quick introduction, starting with Nathan?
Yeah, sure. So Nathan Sweeney, I've known Aaron for, how long have we known each other now, Aaron? About 15 years, something like that?
Something like that.
So yeah, as you can imagine, there's a lot of history there, and probably a few stories. But yeah, we just kind of put this together as a bit of a. It originally started as a group, and as a. Aaron, what did it start as?
We started it as a South Coast user group back at the early part of lockdown, and then we kind of decided to do an all-day event and tried to get 200-300 people involved in a one-day session, and then it sort of just grew and grew and grew. And as we came out of lockdown number 2, back end of 2020, we had a few sponsors, and then lockdown number 2, lockdown 3, wasn't it? At the end of Christmas, we had a lot more sponsors. So now it's grown into a 2-day event. I think we've got something like 45 different sponsors. We're hoping for well over 1,400 attendees. And we've got a whole bunch of workshops on the Friday that I'm sure we'll go into a bit more detail later.
Amazing! It's so exciting because, and I'm like really excited to go as well, because it's an in-person event, isn't it? So, how did it go managing and organising an event? Obviously, we've had a lot of remote sessions and remote conferences, but this one being in person, what was that like to organise?
I think there's two elements to that. There's the first of all, the feedback that we got from a lot of people was we want to see people face to face again, and the second element was obviously the COVID and what's going on with that, and dealing with all of those changes. I mean, 1 minute we wasn't allowed to meet up, then the next minute we was, but then there was only, I think it was 8 people or something like that, so as that's developed, we've had to change our tact as we've moved forward as well. So we've had to plan for about what it feels like must be 15 different events in different scenarios. So it's definitely been interesting to organize it, and we're not event organizers. I suppose we are now, I guess. So yeah, it's been really interesting and dynamic as well because of the changing scenario, and as we've all been part of.
Yeah, and I think as well, people were getting fatigued, weren't they, with team meetings during the day, work-wise, and then the user group numbers started to drop off. So we haven't gone for a hybrid event for the South Coast Summit. It's very much in person. It's a great opportunity for people to come and see one another. Obviously, there's going to be 2 events prior to ours that were in-person, Comsverse, UC Expo, that come to the top of my head. So we won't be the first this year of an in-person conference, but from a community-wise, hopefully we'll be one of the largest.
Amazing. So, and how did it go then? How's it gone with the logistics in terms of getting everyone to an in-person event? How did that work?
Well, we picked the venue because of the transport links more than anything, because of the location was the most important thing. So it originally started with myself and Aaron sitting down going, right, okay, you're here and I'm here, so what's in between us? Okay, these are the 15 different places, and then we started whittling it down, and then we started thinking about other things. And as it grew, we knew we'd made the right choice when things like flights, because of the airport being so close and the M27 being right next to, and it's like 5-minute drive from the M27 into the Aegeus Bowl. Also, the fact that they've got the hotels and the train links as well into London, it kind of made sense to have it in that location. It was a good series of events. So I suppose,
yeah,
it's kind of got us to that point.
They got large on-site parking for free. Yeah, several hotels on site. So that we looked at a couple of other options. Southampton Football Stadium was one, but yeah, the bowl just stood out. And then it's quite new. So the bowl's been around for a while, but the hotel and the stadiums have been some of it's been built recently in the last 5 or 6 years, and so the rest of it's been renovated. So actually all the conference rooms, all the facilities, the restaurants, the bars, the spas, you name it, it's all pretty much brand spanking new. Massive golf course next door as well. So actually, there's a few people coming down on Friday just for the golf, chilling out on the Friday evening with some dinner, and then obviously the main event on the Saturday. So M4 corridor, 40 minutes south, Basingstoke, Winchester, Southampton, Bournemouth area. We've covered. We're good from a location perspective, I think.
I did wonder how you chose the location, because I've actually never been to Southampton. I'm very excited. I had a look at the venue, and I just thought, oh my goodness, it's massive. So I hope they're going to have maps or directions for people to go, because it's going to be absolutely amazing. So
when we booked it as well, we only booked one half of the venue. So the venue split into two. You've got the Hilton Hotel, and you've got the larger ballrooms and several smaller meeting rooms, and you've got the stadium end. So there's 3 stadiums. There's the indoor expo hall, which actually by day is a sports hall. And we only had that stadium end originally because we were thinking 400, 500, 600 people at very most, probably 10 sponsors, wasn't it, to break even, to pay for the food, the drink, the breakfast, etc. And every time we went to the conference, to the venue and spoke with the event coordinator, it's like, can we have this room? Can we have that room? Can we have some more rooms? And it came to a point where I think there was a wedding in the ballroom, wasn't there, on the Saturday? And we were like, we could really do with this ballroom. So I don't know what happened to the wedding, but they're not there anymore.
What kind of attendance are you guys expecting in terms of numbers?
So officially, 1,400.
Wow.
We've got capacity for 2,000. We've paid for 2,000. Attendee registrations are the 1,500 plus mark. So hopefully in the next week or so, we'll get a few more registrations. So we should be near to that 2,000 mark. Cautious of dropouts for a free event. So I think if we're around the 1,500 mark, it will be an ideal number. When we take into account the rooms, the number of rooms, the capacity of the rooms, the expo hall, the 1,500 mark will be a nice number.
Awesome. And yeah, for sure. And I guess what kind of tracks can folk get? Because I'm aware that it's kind of a rounded conference, isn't it? It's not just for folks that are into one thing. So what kind of parts of the whole stack can folk expect to experience?
Yeah, sure. I was looking at Nathan then. I didn't know if he was going to chip in. But yeah, we're not a Teams conference. We're not a Dynamics conference. We're not a Power Platform conference. So when we spoke to the sponsors before, it was very much a smaller scale future decoded, is how I sort of described it to the sponsors. So we've got 10 tracks, Microsoft Teams, collaboration and productivity, security compliance. We've got Azure, we've got DevOps, we've got development, we've got adoption change management, we've got accessibility and inclusivity, and there's probably a few more in there, Dynamics, Power Platform as well. So there's a good 7 or 8 sessions minimum per track. There are a few tracks that are a bit more popular based upon the attendee registrations as well. So we've balanced the ratio of attendees primarily around the Dynamics Power Platform area. There's obviously a larger community, I think, that we've been able to tap into and attract from that area. So yeah, I think we've got 187 sessions, ranging from 20 minutes through to 40 minutes. The expo hall, again, very similar to a Future Decoded, will have 3 theatres, each 20-minute sessions, and then the breakout rooms will be around the venue. We've got some smaller breakout rooms that seat 20 attendees. So maybe for the newer speakers, smaller room, not as many, right through to the ballrooms, which I think it's 220 seated in there as well. So for the more popular or more experienced speakers.
Amazing. I know there's some keynotes as well that you've just announced, which is very, very exciting. Are you able to share who the keynotes are for the audience?
Yeah, sure. So we're flying Donna Sarker in from the States. So a lot of the Dynamics Power Platform community know Donna for her work around the Power Platform. So she'll be flying in and coming in and kicking things off on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. And then we've got Richard Potter, who is the Microsoft Consultancy Services CTO. And I believe he's just moved into more of a strategic digital strategy role as well. And we also have Helen Wilson from the customer success team, Microsoft UK, kicking things off. So between the 3 of them, it'll be a half-hour keynote. And Stuart Ridout from the CSU team as well will be kicking things off as our host with the most S on the Saturday morning.
Amazing. So what's the process of getting the keynotes on board? Was there were they your top ones, or is there a process behind it? Because I just think they're great names, and it's great to have them come to speak at the event and fly over. Be good to know just what the process is.
I think it's who you know.
Yeah.
So speaking with several Microsoft contacts day to day, sort of recommended. Richard was the first person that we actually reached out to based on recommendations, and he was signed up halfway through that conversation. He's like, "Yep, love to be out meeting people." He's got a couple of topics that he sent across, and we chose one of those. And then Donna got in contact. She wanted to be part of the event, so she was all fully booked flights across, and we said to her, "Would you like to keynote as well?" To have that. Basically, the keynote will be kicking off with Richard and digital strategy and staying ahead, and what that means for businesses, and data and AI focused. Helen's coming in from a modern workplace management, hybrid working. Obviously we've all been working from home for the last 12, almost 18 months, I guess, and what that means for organizations and how to adopt. And then we've got Donna finishing off at the end around people working from home. How does that affect them? Inclusivity, accessibility, and how do you keep engaging that workforce in a remote world? Where typically people will be on site. You could see them if they were happy, sad, if they had the tools they needed to do their jobs, etc. So it's a different world. So it's a very broad keynote. I'm not too sure how we would trump it for next year, but we shall worry about that next year.
You could have yourself a Peter to the keynote next year. That would be a headliner. There you go.
We might have to resort to that.
Did I just hear you say that? Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Oh, that is very kind of you. Thank you. But one thing that I am very interested to know more about, well, I know a little bit about it already, but for the audience, on the Friday, there are a number of paid workshops that attendees can sign up for. Can you tell us a little bit more about those and how people can get involved?
Yeah, sure. I'll let Nathan handle this one, because I think he's got a new workshop that we've not yet announced. So this might be a good opportunity to mention it.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll go through the current ones. I'll just grab the list 1 second. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 workshops going on for the day, and they're around. We've got RPA, security compliance, Azure, data and AI, Viva and Syntax, Teams UC, and commerce in a day. We're also happy to announce that we will be doing a HoloLens one. So it's going to be a small workshop, and we are yet to announce it because it was only sorted out today. So it is literally, I couldn't be any more hot off the press if you tried. And that's going to be for a very limited amount of people throughout, and that'll be working with a company that I've developed called Felicius, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who are coming over to do some HoloLens demos on the actual Saturday as well. So we haven't announced that either yet. And they've developed an application which helps them train people remotely for things like CPR. So it couldn't be as relevant as you could get from a healthcare perspective as it is in the current climate. So it's really good to have those guys coming over and being able to do those demos on the Saturday, as well as now being able to work to do the workshops on the Friday. So we really can't wait to announce that formally, which will hopefully be in the next 24 hours. But we've held on that one in order to just finalize a few bits in regards to headsets and things like that. So
we've also got the Power Platform hack on the Friday as well. So yeah, the hands-on workshops to those that want to get one-to-one almost, or one-to-many tuition. We've got the Power Platform hack. So the likes of Chris Huntingford, Will Dorrington will be running that. I think we've got 90 or so attendees for that, just under 90. And that's sponsored by Flick Button. So there'll be an IoT theme to that hackathon. So they'll be building a solution with physical hardware.
Cool. And do you need to be, is that something anyone can get involved with, or is that focused on folks that have got a little bit of development background behind them?
Well, that's a good question. I suppose the whole Power Platform's low code, no code, isn't it? But
yeah,
I think in reality, you kind of have to have that mentality around the context of building and the logical steps, what happens when it does X, Y, and Z, and what's the conditions. So yeah, you're not going to get everyone just go straight in and build some code, but we shall see. I'd be interested. I think we've got 4 judges that will announce then the winner on the Saturday evening during the closing note.
The Saturday evening as well, there is a pub quiz for a charity. Is that right?
Yeah, so Saturday is going to be a busy day anyway, kicking off, I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock for most, 9 o'clock keynote, and then sessions throughout the day. And then for those that are still hanging around and want to socialize and network and have some fun, Andrew Bibby and his team are running a quiz. I think it's about 6:30, 7 o'clock kicking off in the ballrooms, sponsored by DQ Global. So drinks, snacks, and all the prizes. And we ordered the prizes a couple of weeks ago, and I think there's something like 70 prizes ordered off Amazon going to Andrew's house. So he's probably not too happy with me about that. But yeah, and that's all in aid of Cancer Research UK. So tickets are by donation. There's individual tickets. I think they're sort of recommended £10 donations, or you can buy a table. And the tables are 10, I think it is, teams of 10. So yeah, anyone's welcome to join that. And I think there's about 120 or so signed up already. So there's not too many more tickets available.
So you heard it here, guys. Sign up quick before they go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have to be do you have to be what kind of questions are they going to ask? Do you have to be a technical expert to join the quiz, or is it for general audiences? What would you say?
I think it's a 50-50. So I think there's some product related questions, and then there'll be the general knowledge rounds, and then there's team captain. So every table's got a team captain. So when you do register, you can register against a team captain or yourself. Maybe it's a company, organization, or a sponsor that's wanting to attend. You can have your own team as well.
Okay. Any licensing questions in there? Because that would mean no winners. Everybody loses.
Yeah.
No one's going to get
That
4
one for
points
later.
on that.
The last.
Yeah, they'll write the questions, and by the time the quiz happens, it would have changed. So
Yeah, there'd be no right answer.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
one maybe the most important thing about attending an in-person event like this is the swag. And I'm pretty sure that, watching Twitter and LinkedIn and also speaking with Kat, I know that the speakers have been able to get some swag already. Pretty sure representing there with the hoodie and everything. Yeah, there we go. Absolutely. Thought so. So, I mean, what kind of stuff can folks expect in terms of swag?
There's definitely going to be swag. There's going to be a few reveals coming up in the next week and a half that we're working on. So we don't want to give too much away, but there is a lot of swag going out for the day. That's all I'm going to say on that front. But give me some more if you'd like.
Yeah, there's 3 good swag
Yeah.
providers. One involves a claw.
Right.
Another one is freezing cold, and the other one is your standard conference swag. But then I think talking with all the sponsors, they're all doing something, and there'll be lots to win, lots of competitions. So yeah, nobody will be going home empty-handed, I don't think.
Excellent. Good stuff.
I feel like I've got so many flasks is usually the one that is the go-to because everybody loves a flask. And I feel like now my flask collection is getting to the point where
There you go.
there we go. Yeah.
I've got boxes of it.
But no more room in my cupboard now because of all my flasks from all the events that I've been to. So it's my
Try and
nice
ignore the
collection.
boxes behind me.
It's just all flasks.
It's like when you go to a festival and you get a wristband. And some people, I remember in like school and college and stuff, you would keep the wristbands as like look how many festivals I've been to. That's my flask collection is how many conferences.
All wet and soggy and smelly. Nice.
Yeah, lovely. But in terms of the event itself, so I know that obviously we're in a bit of a different situation than in the past. With in terms of health and safety, are there certain precautions that people should be aware of? Are you encouraging or enforcing masks, or what should attendees expect when preparing to come to the event in regards to health and safety?
Well, the first thing I want to point out there is the recommendation around masks. It is a recommendation. The difficulty that we've had, as I said a little while ago, was the fluctuating and government guidance that's been coming out. So, I mean, you go to the shop now and you'll see some people are wearing masks, some people are not, because some people feel comfortable doing so. Then that's their choice to do that. Our recommendations are that to wear a mask, especially if it's in a closed environment. And the reason why we chose the Aegeus Bowl was because it had so much outside space, and also that's undercover as well. So that was really important to us when we were choosing the venue. But there's going to be loads of hand stations around. We're going to recommend that everybody does a lateral flow test, and that's not just for your protection, but also for the other people as well. So if that does come back positive, obviously the recommendation is to go and get a PCR test and stay at home and isolate, as per the government guidance. But yeah, as I say, there's going to be lots of hand sanitizing stations. There's the recommendation around masks, and it's also, we've got a sticker system as well. So it's red or green on your lanyard. So red will be, give me space, and green will be, I'm happy to shake hands and have that kind of contact.
That's such a good idea, the lanyard. It kind of reminds me of when you go into, have you seen those kind of dating places where you have like different colored of cups? Have you seen those? Obviously, there's a little bit more serious than that, but I like the idea. It gives people, I guess, a choice as well of, all right, okay, I'm going to this in-person event. There's lots of people there, but to still feel comfortable and feel like they can still enjoy the atmosphere and the buzz, but in a really safe way. And I think you're not the only one who struggled with the guidance from the government in terms of conferences? Because Rue, I know that you were speaking to the Comsverse guys as well a while ago,
Yeah.
and they were kind of saying the same thing, weren't they? Really?
Yeah, that's right. And I guess it's you'll maybe be in a different situation down there than we are up here. But part of the problem is the government's kind of in a situation where the rules can change at the blink of an eye. And it seems like we're in quite a good place just now, but I guess it must be something that does kind of linger there in the background for you guys as a concern.
Yeah, and it's two-part as well. So it's not just the regulations or guidance, it's also the ability to run the conference. So obviously there's a big expense that we had to pay for probably 6-7 weeks ago around catering, the marketing, the audio, visual, all the stages. All those guys need paying up front. So obviously working with the sponsors around, if it does get cancelled and we're in a point where we've paid for half the bills, then we can only give you back half the money. And yeah, there's lots of commercial aspects to it as well, and lots of unknowns. And obviously the event organizer as well at the stadium, she was on furlough twice or 3 times when we were trying to arrange the conference. And then we went into 2 lockdowns as well. And so trying to convince, didn't have to convince the sponsors, to be fair. A lot of them were just signing up. Yeah, we want to be there. And if it's in person, then great. If it's remote, then okay, we'll have to go down that route. But, it's not ideal. Nobody wants to do a conference remote. So balancing the sort of recommendations and the measures that we're putting in place for the attendees on both days around testing the day before. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. The rooms of, the seating capacity in the rooms are all slightly reduced to give an element of more space. The expo hall will have that one-way system. But yeah, I was chatting with a few guys from Comsverse as well, and the general feeling I got was everyone arrived, everyone's masked up, everyone's at, it's the first conference they've been to, and in a year and a half, everyone's not worried, but cautious. And then by midday, sort of that level of cautiousness disappears. Everyone's still safe. They're still sanitizing their hands and keeping clean and stuff. But I guess that worry sort of disappears. So hopefully, knowing that everyone has been tested the day before gives everyone a level of confidence that nobody's there knowingly having COVID. And I'm pretty certain that 99% of the adults in the UK have all been double vaccinated as well. So whilst it's not foolproof, there's still lots of measures in place that if we were to run it back in April time when we were in tier 2 and you could technically run the event, I think the attendance would be a lot less than what we're hoping for, just because nobody would have been vaccinated. Everyone was still very much, I'm going to stay at home. But yeah, I think we're coming out of that period now.
The other element to that is the not necessarily the physiological side, but also the mental side of it as well, and the anxiety that people are going to feel when they come to an event like this. As much as some of us try to hide it, there's going to be an element of that. So what we've also done as well is we put on a dedicated room that if people do feel that way, then they can go to a room which is dedicated to be a quiet space where they can just disconnect. They can have a nice view of the stadium, and it's run by a healthcare professional as well. So it will be there, and it's just effectively a breakout room to get away from it. I remember going to Ignite a couple of years ago, and it was very difficult to get away from people just to have 5 minutes, because you're trying to absorb so much information about so many different topics, and there's so much going on that it's nice to have an area where you could just disconnect, take your headphones off, and just not listen to the chatter of people and allow yourself that time. So we wanted to put that on to give people that opportunity, as well as the outside space for people to just get fresh air. Because we feel as though that's really, really important as we come out of this.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea. I love that idea. I guess in part because, for a lot of folks, this will be the first time they've been to an event that's that crowded or at that scale since, I don't know, last March, right? And although for a lot of folks it might seem kind of silly, like whatever, back to normal straight away. Certainly if you kind of, careful what I say here, if you fall into that maybe stereotypical IT person persona, which I probably would, it might be nice just to be able to step away and be like, oh, that's a bit too much. Go away, get some breathing space, right? So no, I think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah, and there's quite a lot of space outside as well. So actually, going from stadium to stadium is all outside. There's, it's undercover. You can go under the concourses. So if it is raining, you're not going to get wet. But yeah, there's lots of fresh air, and also the Hilton have got several restaurants, cafes as well to go and chill in. So it's not just a conference room or lots of meeting rooms and a big expo hall. There's plenty of space to get away from it as well.
Nice. And I guess one of the questions that comes to mind for me when I'm talking to you guys and I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking, holy crap, that sounds like a hell of a lot of work to pull all this together, is how do you kind of find the time? Because I'm sitting here and I've got, normal day job and I do a couple other community things on the side, and I already feel like I've got no time, but I'm not doing anything on the scale of this, right? So I'm just kind of curious. Maybe you don't have any spare time. Maybe that's the answer, but I'm just curious. How do you manage that?
I think the question is more aimed at Aaron than it is myself, because you've got 3 kids, right? So I don't have any. So for me, my free time is obviously we all need free time, but what we do is we take on what we've done over the last year is we've taken on the workload for each other, if that makes sense. So when there's quiet times for Aaron, he'll do some of the work and then I'll do some of the work moments. But as we're getting closer to the event, we're both finding that both of our workloads are starting to drive up and up and up. So the half an hour of an evening, maybe over lunch, etc., that it used to be is now probably a couple of hours in the evening as we get closer and closer, and that's probably going to just take over. But as I'm sure you're aware, you've got your day job to do as well. So you're looking at, say, high-level documents and statements of works and so on and so forth, to then flip and then go, right, okay, I now need to organise this bit to then you have to be able to switch off from one and flip to the other pretty quickly, to be able to keep up with everything that's going on, because there's requests coming in from pretty much everywhere. But it's difficult.
It's a question, we've got 40 or 45, 46 sponsors, and they're all emailing once a week. So it's replying on an individual basis. There's a sponsor FAQ out there for the most common, but you still get the odd email. Then it's the following up on the sessions and the speakers, videos and images. What's the latest one? The stand. So the expo hall, they've all got like a shell scheme system. So that will all get set up for them. That will all be done the day before. So they're all branded, and we send out the design requirements, the sizing. It's following up. Obviously, some have sent it through and it's not the right size, or there might be a slight issue, or the wording crosses over on a bar or something. It's following up that. It's a 10-minute job, but it's times 40. So it does get a bit time consuming. And then
a bit of testing as well.
And then it's the next bit, right? I need to send the comms out and let people know about this, and we need to promote the workshop, or we need to promote the quiz, or the numbers on this part are a bit low. Speak to the track leads, who are, we've got 40 odd track leads that are divided up between the 10 tracks, and they're obviously helping us, contacting the speakers, making sure they're all okay. They know when they're speaking, they've got their deck, they know where to go, they've registered, etc. So they're taking some of the workload off us as well, which is great. But it's making sure everyone's talking to everyone and everything's going in the right direction. And it's probably a couple of hours a day, I think, at the moment, as things ramp up.
I feel bad. I feel like I've added to that as well, because I've been emailing Aaron like, oh, by the way, what's this?
Well, I wasn't going to say any names, but
I hope you feel guilty every email you sent them, Kat. It's contributing to the workload. And I guess, as it culminates and as it cools off after it's over with, what happens then? do you start saying, well, what do we do next year? Or do you take a breather? Do you hit the ground running? What's your kind of thoughts there?
Well, the problem we've got is, well, it's not a problem. It's all the sessions will be recorded. So all the rooms will have video cameras and all the sound wired up to the video camera. One of the ballroom sessions, we've got 4 or 5 guys, girls professionally recording it. So there's a producer, there's 3 camera operators, etc. So it's then the post-production of the videos and splitting those out and putting them onto the YouTube channel. And also we've got a mechanism for the attendees to check into each of the sessions as well. So the sponsors for this year have a number of sessions each. So I think 50% of the sessions are sponsor sessions. So it will be someone within inside that organization doing a session. So we've said to those that we will provide the data of who's attended their session. So again, it's downloading the data and working through that and splitting that out and sending it to the sponsors. And obviously they want that, within a week of the event so they can follow up on those leads. And then obviously it's then focusing on the next sponsor pack for next year and working out what we're going to do. Did this year work? Is the expo hall layout correct? Were the number of sessions correct? Did we have too many? What worked? What didn't work? So it's all planning for the next one. So it's pretty much go again. With
so much admin.
Yeah, we were at the venue yesterday. We were talking about the contracts for next year, around the hotels and booking all of those out and the rooms and the costs associated with all that. So yeah, it's very much a full circle again.
Amazing. I guess the one question we haven't asked is why? Why are you doing it? What's the driver behind wanting to organize an event like this?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think the original was we wanted just to do a 1-day user group, didn't we? So we had at the peak, 60, 70 people attending the user groups once a month. And we every quarter we would have a different session. So one month it would be Modern Workplace. The next month it would be Dynamics. The month after that will be something else. And we sort of just loop through that. And so we thought, okay, this is great, really good. Getting to know the guys, girls, presenters, good fun. Let's do an all-day one. Didn't think it will be half as big as it is, if I'm honest, or half as much of the organising that's needed. But ultimately, I think it's fun. I quite like it. I think for me, if it wasn't fun, it would be a proper slog because you're spending hours a day, weekends, time with the kids, the family. It takes up time. So if you didn't enjoy it, it isn't for you. I think that goes for all the other event organisers. It's fun. It's quite nice to engage with all the sponsors and the suppliers and the partners, bringing people together. It's quite nice. And hopefully, fingers crossed, my only concern, and I think Nathan shares this, is making sure people turn up. Doing all of this and not many people turning up, I think will be, upsetting. But hopefully, bringing people together, especially 2 years since the last time they've probably all seen each other. It'd be fun.
I think one of the biggest drivers for me is that exactly what you just left on there, is bringing people together. We've all done this for the last 2 years, and bringing people together and having that community of like-minded people, and having not been to an event in a few years as well. That was a big driver as well, especially as it started gaining pace. It was like, right, okay, actually we do have the interest here. Let's just go all out. And we hit a point, I think it was around February, March time. And it was just like at that point, because we had so much interest, it was like, right, okay, let's just make this as big as we can. We'll put everything that we've got into it, and we'll just see what happens. And now we're 9 days away, I think, 10 days away. And it's not nervous, I'll tell you.
I guess what thoughts do go through your head insofar as the nerves and everything? Because I guess, I sound like a bit of It's not very nice saying this, but there's a lot that can go wrong, right? So how do you kind of settle those nerves and put them to the side and think, oh no, it'll all be fine, it'll all work out, and it'll all be worth it?
I think it's organisation more than anything, and above everything else, we've got about 5 spreadsheets, which I think one of them, it started off as a small spreadsheet and then it just gained pace. And then there's another one from an operations perspective, which is it's about 5 or 6 tabs long, but if you were to print it out, it'd probably take about 4 A1 sizes. So it's a pretty big spreadsheet,
isn't it? Because we've got so many rooms. We've got 17 rooms.
Yeah.
And we've got to turn the rooms around for a lot of them in a very short period of time. So the Friday rooms are obviously all set up for desks, chairs, laptops. And then the Friday hack, obviously during the day, is 22 tables. They've all got to be cleared away, ready for the dinner in the evening. So there's a speaker-sponsored dinner on the Friday evening. So that's got to be turned around. They've all got to be then cleared down for the theatre layout on the Saturday. And then come 5 o'clock, we've got to clear it all away again to put the tables in for the quiz. And yeah, it's all across. There's a couple of sponsors doing some sort of post-event buffet receptions as well, so we've got to turn those rooms around. So it's a big logistical challenge as well. But we've got dedicated AV company, stands, exhibition company coming in. We've got a marketing company doing in all the signage. I think there's 10 or so from the track event team coming down on the Friday just to help us set up. We're off to cash and carry, aren't we, on the Friday to get the beers in. So there's sponsored drinks as well. So there'll be a drink or two for everyone at the end of the day. But yeah, it's just so much going on. And all the sponsors as well, they've got pallets of swag arriving on the Friday. One sponsor's got 5 pallets that they're dropping off.
Nice.
So
I'd like to hear.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot logistically.
And will it be, I guess, how big is the team? Because it's not just you 2 guys running around doing all this, is it? I'm assuming you're going to have other folks there to help you unload all that swag and rearrange rooms and things like that. How big is that team?
There's the track team, so there's 40 or so on the tracks. I think there's 10, 12 that are volunteered to help on the Friday, and then everyone's volunteered on the Saturday to help with registration check-ins and managing the rooms and making sure the rooms are set up for the next session. And at one point we were asking for help around clearing down all the marketing stuff at the end of the day, but we've got the company coming back in to do that. So everyone's chipped in where we can. Obviously, Nathan and I are a bit of a control freak. There's some stuff, obviously, like the speaker sessions, the venue arrangements, food, drinks that we just have to manage anyway. But I think we've tried to delegate as much as possible just to lighten the load. And there's a few out there anyway that are quite happy to help. So it's really appreciated, especially the guys and girls running the workshops. They're paid workshops, but they cover the cost of the room and the food.
Right.
The instructors don't get paid a penny for it. And also, because it is a free event, it also just helps make sure that there's no dropouts on those Fridays as well. Only 10 spaces. We don't want 50-60% dropouts because people couldn't be bothered to turn up and not let us know, which is annoying from an event organizing perspective, especially when you've got a wait list of people that do want to turn up. So yeah, those guys helping on the Friday, very much appreciated.
Nice, good stuff.
I don't think you'll hopefully you won't have many dropouts because it's going to be such a great event. And I will just say, it's also on the day of my dog's first birthday. So the Saturday, the 16th of October is my dog's first birthday. So I'm going to miss it. Obviously, this is a lot better. But you'll always be a kind of date in the history books for my life. Because it'll be the day that the South Coast Summit and also my dog's first birthday. So yeah, exciting time.
The sacrifice. I hope they appreciate that.
No, I haven't spent hours of my life organising this event.
We'll have to get a little birthday cake. I think there's someone else's birthday as well that I saw on Twitter.
It's not even my birthday, it's my dog's. It's not even a person.
Yeah, you can have a cake or get a dog-shaped cake or something.
Nah, I will. My other half said I'll get him a steak. I was like, he's a Shih Tzu. Don't give him a steak, he'll die. Like he'll literally keel over. He won't be able to handle it. But yeah, no, I'm really, really excited. I'm really excited for the sessions because I'm on one of the tracks, adoption change management, so helping the speakers in there. And I've got kind of the insight of the sessions that are being run. They look great. Really excited for them. But I guess if there was a couple of sessions that you've maybe spotted that you would recommend attendees attending, maybe ones that are, topics that have never been covered before, is it the keynote? Is there, specific things that you would recommend your attendees not to miss out on, if any?
I've got one.
Go.
It's not on the Saturday. I really want to go to the hackathon, but I've not got time because we're going to be running around sorting stuff out, because I know that there's going to be a few surprises in there and I know people are going to really enjoy it. I'm not going to give anything more than that away. The surprises, not necessarily from the organisers of the hack as well, not us, if that makes sense. So Chris and Will.
Cryptic. I don't even know what you're talking about. I think
it's cryptic. You need to go and find out, I guess. That's the whole point.
I'm just going to wait for the surprise. It'll be nice after a year of stressing to just put my feet up and have a nice surprise. But
I don't think you'll be much feet up, will you? You'll be running around like a headless chicken, won't you? I would guess.
Yeah. In terms of my sessions, I don't know. The keynote for me, I'm quite looking forward to Richard's piece. I've seen some bits of it and I'm quite keen to watch that. I know she's a keynote speaker, but Donna's got a session, I think it's at 1:00 around burnout. And, I've said it many times over the last year. My day job is relentless. It has been relentless. Everyone's been relentless. I know the guys at work are working their socks off. They are stressed. So yeah, I think that'll be interesting to see what comes out of that session. But there's loads of other sessions. I'm not a UC person, and there's a couple of good UC sessions around setting up voice calling, all the plans, direct routing, etc. I'm more of the, modern workplace, Power Platform Dynamics person. So it'll be quite nice. And whenever I go to these sort of conferences, I normally go to sessions that aren't in my day-to-day job, because you learn something rather than just hearing something that you already know about or know enough about anyway that you could go and find. It's the sessions where, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know you could do this, which, when I go to the Ignites and Ignite the tours and the Future Decoders and those sort of conferences, it's going to sessions that are outside your normal comfort zone, which I personally enjoy.
There's some good ones around data and AI as well. So there'll be some really interesting ones in there about what people are doing with data and where they're pulling the information from, like Xbox and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool what's going on.
Really exciting stuff. And I guess that's a really good approach to conferences. Go and see sessions that, maybe aren't in your area. Is there any other kind of pieces of advice you would give attendees who are maybe not used to conferences, or any guidance to get the best from it?
Bring some comfy shoes and plan ahead. So there's a Sessionize app with all the sessions. You can favorite your sessions and build up your own schedule, because there's nothing worse than get to the conference, listening to the keynote, and then going, right, where do I go now for 10 o'clock? And, there's 17 sessions per hour, pretty much. So it's, right, which ones do I want to go to? Are there two sessions similar? So if you've got that conundrum where, oh, I really want to see that one, but I also want to see that, is there another session? So just plan ahead. There is 10, 20 minutes in between the sessions, depending on which part of the venue you're in. So you've got plenty of time to get from one to the other. So just plan it. And then, if you go to 5 sessions, at least you've then got 2 hours to browse the expo hall, grab some lunch, tea, coffee, and then, just catch up with people, share stories.
And also bring an umbrella and sunglasses, because obviously we're in the UK and we have no idea what's going to happen. So,
touch wood, every time we've been to the venue, it's been blue sky, beautiful, and the venue looks really, really nice in the sun as well.
that's the one thing I asked Aaron not to say.
You
That's
jinxed
just
it.
Jinxed it. Yeah.
You could probably get it on the weather forecast now, can't we? Long rain.
Probably. Yeah,
Does it
probably
go
by
up?
now.
Yeah, I think we've lost Nathan. Oh, he's back. Sorry, Nathan,
Oh,
you froze
I'm back.
just for a second there.
No rain.
Oh, it's not too
There's a
bad. I was going to
cloud,
say
yeah.
it's middle of October. What are the chances? But you're not in Wales, I guess. When it's
Well,
always
Thursday,
raining.
It's
So.
sunny, so
Oh, you got
Wow.
sun. Yep.
and there's dry clouds the week after as well. So hopefully,
Oh, you might pull it off then. That's not bad.
maybe, fingers crossed.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
That's the best weather as well, as when it's like fresh, crispy outside, but not raining.
Yeah, wrap
So
up warm. But yeah, it
I
should be
think
good. As long as we get attendees, that's my only worry. To be fair, everything else we've planned, everything else is scheduled. We've got lots of third-party suppliers doing all the setup, the configuration, the venue, the drinks, etc. So yeah, it's people turning up. That's my worry.
I think the most disconcerting thing is around, organising what was initially a small event to then organising this larger event, but having to let other people do things that you kind of want to do, but you just haven't got time to do. And
Right.
we've got a fantastic team around us, from the shell scheme guys that are coming to build it, and the sound engineers, and the event staff as well, and the event team around us as well have been, fantastic. Really, everybody's when we've asked, they've said, I can do that, and that's really, really comforting to know that we've got those people around us to say, we can do that. That's cool. You go do that bit over there, because that's like this, and I'll just do this bit. It's fine. So that's really good to know.
And is it difficult ever giving over kind of control over your kind of your baby to someone else? Because I know myself, bit of a control freak, kind of would want to manage it all. How do you decide what to delegate and what you guys will actually remain hands-on with?
That's still in flux at the moment.
It's
So the
hard.
big-
It would never happen if you kept it to yourself. It's too big. So, Nathan picks up most of the venue, AV, stands,
Operational.
logistics, and I suppose I probably pick up more of the speakers, sponsors, marketing side. There's obviously a bit of a crossover anyway. So that's a good sort of boundary anyway. And we kind of know, right, that's Aaron's job or Nathan's job. And we sort of delegate within. So, Nathan will say to me, can we find some volunteers to help with unloading on the Friday? So, yeah, we'll send out the call via the team. And then I'll forward stuff on to Nathan saying, can you sort this out? Someone's got a problem with the stand, or, can they put the telly on the stand in this location? And what's the connector for this telly, and that sort of stuff. And yeah, it works quite well. But yeah, some of it you just have to trust in someone else's hands. Otherwise it just never happened.
One question that came to mind when you mentioned kind of attendees and things, when does registration actually close? Like, how close to the date of this event can folks still sign up and get ready to go?
The day before, technically.
Right.
I'm guessing as well there'll be people out there that will probably turn up without registration, so we can just register on the day. Until we get to the point where we're at max capacity, and bear in mind the stadium can hold thousands of people. We're probably not going to turn away anyone, especially with the numbers that we've got at the moment. If another 500 people turn up, we've got capacity and space. So.
The venue, just to put that into context, can hold 52,500 people, give or take.
That's
A lot of breathing room.
Yeah, that's next year's target. But just to give that emphasis on space, there is a lot of space outside for people to sit as well, and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of space there for attendees.
Yeah, but register before so that we know numbers and can feed you. the important bit, food.
Yeah, that's the incentive for going, I guess.
Yeah, it's quite. When we were looking at the numbers, we looked at the sports hall where the expo hall is, and we saw a picture of it set up with, was it 600 chairs, wasn't it? Sort of conference style. And we were like, there must be a couple of thousand seats down there. You know, there's lots. And it was, we counted them, it was 600. So when people say, I know 1,400 people turning up, it doesn't really sound like a lot in my mind. But when I go to the garage and I've got 6 boxes of lanyards, and you think that's a lot of people. And then there's 6,000 cups, there's 6,000 sandwich bags, there's all the other swag that we've got in our garages, let alone everyone else's. It's actually a lot. And then I think as well, looking back to other conferences, community conferences, you know, they obviously started off a lot smaller as well, which maybe was probably our original plan. And to some degree, I think the whole lockdown's probably given us a little bit of an advantage because people want to get out because they haven't been out for 2 years. But at the same time, there'd be people that would normally attend conferences that won't attend it because of COVID. So yeah, 600 was a nice number, wasn't it? That we had in mind day one, and then we saw what 600 looked like. And we're like, okay, yeah, definitely get that. And now 1,400, yeah, it'll be quite nice. I'll be happy.
And we went into the expo hall the other day as well, and that was quite nice to actually get in there properly because as the cricket teams have been playing, there's been a lot of isolation, so we haven't really been able to go in there too much. Right. And this is pretty much what the 3rd time I think we've been in there, and to actually stand on like the 3rd floor and actually look at it to see the actual size of it and everything, that was really kind of like a moment when I think I looked at you, Aaron, I just nodded, and I was just, yeah, and it was just like, this is going to look good once it's all put in and built and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. I hope your marketing team are getting, have they got like photography so you can get some great photos of the event? I bet that'll look amazing. And the venue that you've chosen as well. What a rush.
Yeah, the community's come together because there's a couple of community volunteers that are going to take photos and record videos. And we've also got a paid professional as well. So, you know, across the 3 of them, there should be plenty of good images, good videos. Tom Morgan's going to be there doing his community reporter pieces and interviewing a few people. Kevin McDonald will be there as well with a podcast. So there's a podcast booth. I think he's got 8 scheduled in. I guess you guys might be one of them, actually. That will be in the expo hall as well, overlooking on the balcony. So that'll be quite nice to have some atmosphere around that. So there's lots going on. HoloLens, we've got 4 HoloLens devices, I think it is. So yeah, hands-on all day demos. Yeah, lots of little stuff going on.
Amazing.
Nice. Yeah, all sounds fun. And I guess, you know, when you mentioned that perspective you had where you're kind of looking down and you're seeing it all, I guess when it's over, it must feel really rewarding. You know what I mean? Just knowing, hey, we did it, we pulled it off, it's done. You know what I mean? I just can't imagine how satisfying that's going to end up feeling for you guys.
Yeah,
I think for myself, I'm going to go straight into my next project of having my roof taken off in my house. So it's going to be interesting. So just one stress straight to another stress. No, indeed.
You're just in a constant state of nerves.
Yeah.
Goodness me, you need a holiday, Nathan. Christmas time, that's it. Just tap out.
Hopefully the work will be finished by then. I hope so. But yeah.
Yep. Awesome. So I guess we should start wrapping this up. Just, you know, any kind of last minute pieces of info you want to shout out, places folk can go to register, all that kind of stuff. Just sum things up for us.
Yeah, sure. So obviously on the Friday, still several places in the workshops. And obviously if you want to attend the Saturday, again, if you just go to our website, www.southcoastsummit.com, all the links are on there to register. We're using Eventbrite as the means to capture all that. So yeah, all the links are on that homepage.
One of the other things, even if you can't attend the quiz, if you wanted to donate to charity, you're more than welcome to as well.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, right. I guess we'll sign off now. It was great to meet you guys. I hope the event's a success, and I look forward to hearing all about it. Unfortunately, I can't make it, but Kat's obviously going representing the yellow brand. I guess that's what we are. I don't know, something like that.
You'll be missed.
Yeah.
You'll be missed.
Well, thanks for having
appreciate
us.
Yeah, no,
Um,
great to see you guys.
No worries.
Yeah, and Kat, we'll see you in a week's time.
Yeah, sure will.
Awesome. Cheers, everyone. See ya.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.